Next on the news, a message from Bishop Brennan, the homily that thanked a packed Mass and encouraged church leaders. Pope Francis returns to a prison. We'll hear from a former inmate who called the previous encounter with the pontiff emotional. Violence at a holy site. Clashes between Israelis and Palestinians take place during the holy month of Ramadan. Plus, turning to faith during war, one pastor makes it his mission to deliver the word of God regardless of the dangers. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now.
Thank you. Seriously, thank you one and all for your presence here this evening.
A bishop's message to a packed church thanking the 1,000 gathered for having the courage to encounter Christ. That heartfelt message of gratitude was delivered during Chrism Mass, a chance for the shepherd of the diocese to connect with hundreds of priests, deacons, and religious. One night with all of Brooklyn and Queens in attendance. Currents News' Jessica Easthope was there, and she joins us now. And Jess, you call the bishop's special homily a pep talk of sorts, right?
Yes, Christine, you can call it a pep talk because it energizes the faithful, and it can give priests and religious the enthusiasm to continue to minister all year long. This week is solemn. We're reflecting on Christ's death and resurrection, but leading up to the Holy Triduum, Chrism Mass is the celebration, and it starts with one of the largest processions you've ever seen. 2 by 2, the priests, deacons, and bishops enter the co-cathedral, awaiting the moment when they're given the sacred oils that are blessed and consecrated at the Mass and quite literally unify the Diocese of Brooklyn. They're taken from the seat of the bishop and distributed to be used in every sacrament from birth until death. It's a concrete reminder that the church is a community and we are all connected through Christ. And that's exactly what Bishop Brennan spoke about in his homily, a connection so strong that you develop a friendship with Jesus. Let's listen to him explain it.
What being with Jesus meant to the 12, it involved leaving one's home and work to follow him as he moved from place to place, sharing everything with him: meals, rests, travels, and hardships. In the biblical world, the teacher-disciple relationship was very different from what it is today. It involved more than just listening to lectures. The disciple actually went to spend quality time with the teacher. He learned the lessons from watching how the teacher lived. And that's how it was for the apostles.
Bishop Brennan went on to say there's a crisis of faith right now in the world because so many question the true presence of Christ in the Eucharist and view Jesus as just a personality and not a person. Bishop Brennan used the Mass to honor religious who have spent so much of their lives preaching the true meaning of the Eucharist. 25 jubilarians celebrating the anniversaries of their ordinations from 25 to 65 years were recognized and received resounding applause.
To all of you celebrating the various anniversaries, I know you're here, right? And back here, we want to wish to you our warmest appreciation and congratulations.
After the bishop's homily, all the religious present went on to renew their vows. At the end of the Mass, pastors pick up the blessed and consecrated oil to take back to their individual parishes. And Christine, like I said before, so many I spoke with said they feel renewed and ready to celebrate the Holy Triduum, which of course ends in the glorious celebration of Easter.
All right, thank you, Jess. And if you want to hear the bishop's entire homily, we have it ready for you. Just check out our website, currentsny.tv. We are one day away from the start of the Easter Triduum, but did you know this Holy Wednesday also goes by another name, Spy Wednesday? The name comes from today's gospel reading when Judas agrees to betray Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. After striking the deal with the chief priests, Judas spies on Jesus and secretly plots the opportune time to turn him in. The tablet newspaper has all your Holy Week coverage leading into the Easter Triduum. Coverage began this week with a look back at the kickoff to Holy Week, Palm Sunday. You can also read columns that will bring you closer to Christ ahead of this coming Sunday, and a suggestion to look at the beautiful Stations of the Cross while you're in church this weekend. A reminder of what Christ sacrificed for us. And of course, all this weekend, Net TV will be broadcasting Easter services live. On Holy Thursday, Bishop Brennan will celebrate the Mass of the Lord's Supper at 7:30 p.m. On Good Friday, he'll celebrate two services, the Way of the Cross at 10 a.m. and the Liturgy of the Lord's Passion at 3 p.m. The Easter Vigil with Bishop Brennan will be televised Saturday at 8 p.m. And on Easter Sunday, 3 live Masses will be celebrated in 3 languages, a 9 a.m. Creole Mass, an 11 a.m. English Mass that will be celebrated by Bishop Brennan, and a 1:30 p.m. Spanish Mass. There will also be a 4 p.m. Italian Mass and a 5 p.m. Polish Mass for those who wish to celebrate in those languages. The Diocese of Brooklyn has officially wrapped up their 2023 Lenten Pilgrimage. The final stop on this 40-day journey was at Holy Cross Church in Maspeth, Queens. The bishop celebrated Mass with the pilgrims and the students from St. Stanislaus Kostka School before joining them in exposition of the Blessed Sacrament. During his homily, the bishop reflected on what pilgrims can take away from the journey.
This pilgrimage has taught us anything, those of us who've been walking, been making this journey from church to church, and you guys made a little bit of a pilgrimage too, didn't you? Coming off school. If this has taught us anything, it's a constant reminder that Jesus, our closest friend, loves us more than we can ever imagine.
From Ash Wednesday until today, pilgrims have been traversing all over Brooklyn and Queens to see 42 different churches and neighborhoods. Not only did they get to see the beautiful houses of worship, but they also got to experience a variety of different spiritual activities, including adorations, rosaries, and benedictions. And to probably no one's surprise, the person who went to a majority of the stops, Bishop Robert Brennan. If you missed the Lenten pilgrimage, don't worry. St. Pancras Church in Glendale has an interesting exhibit that'll bring you closer to Christ. This is an interactive tomb made by the parish's Director of Religious Education every year to simulate the resting place of Christ after he sacrificed himself on the cross. You can even see Christ's body laying in mourning there. On Easter morning, the blue light inside of that tomb will be replaced with a dazzling glow. An angel will be added, and that body of Christ will be gone. Want to walk through the tomb yourself? You're invited. Just head over to St. Pancras Church in Glendale, Queens. The address there is 72-22 68th Street. Again, that's in Glendale, Queens. Over to the Vatican now. Pope Francis is keeping busy this Holy Week despite his recent stint in the hospital. He is back in full force, and this year he is coming full circle. He's returning to the first place he celebrated Holy Thursday Mass as Pope, a juvenile prison. This was in 2013, just 15 days into his pontificate. Pope Francis went to prison to celebrate Holy Thursday Mass. He washed the feet of 12 young prisoners at the Casal del Marmo juvenile prison on the outskirts of Rome and plans to do the same this year.
Un segno di dire io non giudico nessuno. Io cerco di servire tutti. C'è uno che giudica. Ma è un giudice un po' strano, il Signore. Giudica e perdona.
In 2018, one of those inmates described it as an emotional experience.
When I arrived, I said to my companion next to me, "But do we have to wash ourselves or the Pope?" And he said, "No, it is he who does it." The Pope then explained that as Jesus washed the feet of his disciples, so would he. I still did not believe it, but when he approached me, I started crying. I could not believe it.
Pope Francis has celebrated Holy Thursday Mass in a prison several times throughout his papacy. It's a tradition he began as the Bishop of Buenos Aires, but had to pause for a couple of years because of the pandemic. The Holy Thursday Mass is not open to the public, but the Vatican does plan to live stream it. Like we mentioned, Pope Francis has a busy but solemn week ahead of him. Let's take a look at what the Holy Father has planned. On Good Friday, Pope Francis is expected to celebrate a Passion of the Lord. Later that night, he'll preside the Way of the Cross at the Roman Colosseum. On Holy Saturday, he will celebrate the Easter Vigil, and on Easter, Francis is scheduled to celebrate Mass and give his Urbi et Orbi blessing. The faith is on fire, literally. 3 wooden carvings of the Virgin Mary in Spain were damaged in fires, but in 3 separate incidents. One happened during a procession. Take a look. Two people in southern Spain were hurt trying to stop these flames from spreading. Candles are responsible for 2 of the fires, and a short circuit likely caused the third. All 3 of these fires appear to be accidental. Church leaders in the Holy Land are calling for more security during Holy Week. Because of escalating violence in the region, a group of Catholic, Orthodox, and Protestant leaders issued a statement asking governing authorities for extra protection at holy sites. Churches, other public gathering venues, even funeral processions have recently become targets of attack in Jerusalem, and they say local Christians in particular have increasingly suffered. A holy site in Jerusalem was the scene of a violent clash between Israelis and Palestinians. The area is important to both Arabs and Jews, and now Israel is being denounced for its actions during this holy month of Ramadan. Hadas Gold has more.
Israeli police stormed the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem early Wednesday, where Palestinians worship during the holy month of Ramadan. Video put out by the Israeli police shows officers entering the mosque by force as fireworks are launched at them. Videos on social media appear to show officers striking people with batons. Eyewitnesses telling CNN police also fired stun grenades and rubber bullets. The police said in a statement that they went in because hundreds of what they called rioters and mosque desecrators barricaded themselves inside in a violent manner and, quote, threw fireworks, hurled stones, and caused damage. The authorities arrested more than 300 people during the incident. The Palestinian Red Crescent saying at least 24 Palestinians were injured. Israeli police say 2 of their officers were also wounded.
The holy sites behind me are known as the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, or Haram al-Sharif, the 3rd holiest site in Islam. You can actually hear the call to prayer going on right now, but it's also known as Temple Mount to Jews, and it's the holiest site in Judaism. Now, there is a status quo that governs these holy sites, and the Israeli police entering the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is this building right here with the black roof behind me, that is considered a violation of the status quo. And then not only them entering, but then them entering in the way they did, firing stun grenades and rubber bullets, well, that brought it to a whole other level.
Egypt, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia have denounced Israel for what happened, the Jordanian foreign minister saying the world must clearly condemn the attack. Shortly after the raid, rockets were fired from Gaza into Israel, the militant group Hamas saying Israel's actions in Jerusalem wouldn't go unanswered. The Israeli military said it had struck Hamas weapon sites in Gaza in response.
That was Hadas Gold reporting. Israel is now drawing international condemnation. Even just the Israeli police stepping foot inside the mosque is seen as provocative and offensive. And there's a lot more news headed your way, bringing faith to the front lines. The pastor bringing God to a war-torn community in Ukraine. Parts of the United States prepare for more tornadoes, risking the safety of as many as 60 million people. And the students who are flexing their journalistic skills in school. Tornadoes have caused widespread destruction to parts of the country. Communities are picking up the pieces, but now millions are being threatened again with more tornadoes and large hail. Laura Aguirre has more.
Bollinger County, Missouri, hit by a deadly storm in the early morning hours Wednesday. The number of fatalities could rise in the coming hours as state highway police there say search and rescue efforts continue. This savage storm system, threatening about 60 million Americans, is moving east after battering parts of Missouri, Illinois, Iowa, and Michigan.
Oh my God!
Kelowna, Illinois, still assessing major damage after being hit by at least one of 7 reported tornadoes to roar through that state Tuesday.
I mean, we're lucky. I don't know. I look at all this and I'm just like amazed.
We're just hoping that it gets by us and we don't have no more damage, but that's what we're praying for now.
Oh, she is a beauty. Oh my God.
In neighboring Iowa, tornadoes like this one in Pleasantville Tuesday weren't the only continuing weather threat. Hail the size of baseballs or even larger reported here and in several cities across the Midwest. To the south, more hail and tornado watches in effect for parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, including Little Rock, heavily damaged in last week's severe storms. The National Weather Service warns everyone in the affected central and southern regions to heed all severe weather advisories through Wednesday. Laura Aguirre, Currents News.
Catholic Charities of St. Louis is praying for people impacted by the recent storms. You can help them give assistance to others with a donation. Simply visit ccstl.org/get-involved/donate in order to help. A church in Arkansas destroyed by the storm was still able to celebrate Sunday services.
I would take this 100 times over again to make sure that y'all are okay.
That was Senior Pastor Matt Carter. He and the parishioners of the Wynn First United Methodist Church agreed that celebrating Mass was the right thing to do so they could be together as a community. Carter said the church has seen changes before and come back, and this time won't be different.
This is an opportunity to really be the people that we've known that we are for so long, and to live into the faith that we proclaim in Jesus. And it's just a building. We'll build another one and we'll continue on.
He added that he's looking forward to the rebuild and the memories to come. The United States is providing more aid to help Ukraine battle Russia. Some of the items being provided: radar equipment, rockets, fuel trucks, and more. The bill totals about $2.6 billion. The Russian embassy in Washington accused the U.S. of dragging out the conflict. Since February of last year, the U.S. has pledged over $35 billion to Ukraine. While war rages on, Ukrainians are looking for ways to keep hope alive. Fortunately, one pastor is able to do that by spreading faith during war. Ben Wiedemann has more.
Donning his flak jacket, Pastor Igor Yershov of the Protestant Bethlehem Christian Church prepares for his rounds. Today he's conducting services in the village of Maximilianivka, just a few miles from Russian lines. Church is a hurried affair, just 45 minutes of no-frills sermon and prayer. To tarry is dangerous. A Russian artillery shell recently landed next door, spraying shrapnel on the walls, destroying the roof, shattering the windows. Yet when the faithful emerge, there is momentarily a sense of serenity. It calms your soul, says Natalia. We feel that we're with God and that He protects us. But for the handful of residents, Maximilianivka is a ghost town. The few still here depend upon the kindness of others for their sustenance, including bread brought by Pastor Igor, 1 loaf per person. Once a week, every Sunday, this is the only time these people can get fresh bread that's still warm. But man cannot live on bread alone. Today, says Pastor Igor, hope is the most precious thing for people here on the front lines.
That was Ben Wiedemann reporting. Some people in the area are so rattled by the war that they refuse to leave their bomb shelters. The Vatican is taking a step towards peace with a new event. The Holy See is co-sponsoring a worldwide relay called Run for Unity. The initiative is meant to build peace and a more ecological world by exchanging steps for trees planted. On May 7th, more than 200,000 people will participate, kicking off in Fiji and passing a virtual baton from one time zone to the next through a series of video calls over the next 24 hours. For more information and to find out how you can take part, just go to teens4unity.org/run4unity. Again, that's teens4unity.org/run4unity. Those runners might take some inspiration from a jogger in Ohio who is overcoming the odds.
Guys, you're right there!
Jose Santino is a retired Marine and a blind half marathon runner. He lost his eyesight in 2015 from glaucoma, but continues to race thanks to some help from his friend. We caught up with him at one of his latest half marathon runs, where he spoke about how running and his faith kept him going after he lost his sight.
Just started running again, and it's been good after that. And I'm not giving up. I'm not going to let my blindness get me down. You can always turn to God to give you that strength, and I do that myself.
Jose and his friend have run 8 half marathons together, and they say they have no plans of stopping anytime soon. From faith in a runner's lane to the classroom, second graders in the Diocese of Brooklyn celebrating Palm Sunday in a special way, reenacting Jesus entering into Jerusalem. Students at St. Athanasius Catholic Academy lined up with palm leaves and waved at their peers. They threw their clothes down to represent the path Jesus took, and the second graders also watched a video about the meaning of Palm Sunday. Still to come on Currents News, how students at one school are building their confidence with their own newscast. Plus, we'll look back at the future journalists in the Diocese of Brooklyn who visited the Currents newsroom. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number, 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. Now to the future of news. A group of elementary students in West Virginia are learning how to get that big scoop, reviving their school newscast. These junior journalists show Clayton McChesney how they tell a story.
Athens Elementary School has their very own news studio. They got their start in 2018, but just started back again following a break due to COVID. They cover local, national, and world news, and even do sports and weather. These student journalists also do fun segments like Joke of the Week, Interesting Fact, and Kindness Report.
It looks for people that do kind things, and then when I see it, I get a press pass and I go get them and I interview them.
The library and technology specialist at the school guides the students. He says working on the news helps the kids learn and grow.
But I think at first they were a little shy. Actually, I know they were, and they were a little scared, but the more we do it, the more they've come out of their shell, and they have a lot of fun with it.
It really makes you come out of your shell because you're in front of a camera and you're talking to the whole school. So that really helps if you have like social anxiety.
Whether behind or in front of the camera, the kids say they're having fun.
Remember to be kind because you never know when you'll be on the news.
I love that they get a press pass. That was Clayton McChesney reporting. And if you would like to watch this special newscast, each episode is broadcasted by their news crew on the Athens School YouTube page. Gotta watch. And of course, we here at Currents News are no strangers to students visiting our newsroom. We even had some journalists in the making record their program from the Currents News set. The anchors of OLGCA News showed off their broadcasting skills in December. The journalists from Our Lady of Grace Catholic Academy in Brooklyn spread the good news at their school every other week. Let's take a look at the newscast they produced right here at our studio.
Good morning, Our Lady of Grace Catholic Academy. My name is Liana Young.
And I'm Maria Bavaro. Welcome to the weekly morning news. Today is Monday, December 5th, 2022. We hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. We are so excited because we are reporting from the studio of Current News. These terms yet?
I was so impressed by them. During their visit, the aspiring journalists also learned how we produce our news show. The program was started 5 years ago and teaches the students how to write and anchor. And that is Currents News. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.